Hi everyone! This week we are watching and thinking about A Beautiful Mind. You may have seen this movie before. It was relatively popular when it was done, and it continues to be shown in a variety of contexts, in courses, or just in general. So it continues to be relatively popular. There are a couple of things that I want to talk about with this movie, and then you guys can bring out any other ideas you have in the discussion boards and the quizzes. So I really want to focus on something specific having to do with how the movie's structured, how it is set up. And basically, this movie comes down to a bait and switch. When I say a bait and switch, all I mean is that it's a technique that kind of suggests that the movie and the story is about one thing. That's the bait, and then it switches it out for something else. It gets rid of that, gives us another option, and then we land on that option. Now, one of the things that the movie does is it spends a great deal of time, especially in the first half of the movie or so, suggesting that the narrative is about a young mathematician who is recruited by the American government for a secret mission. All right, and it's based off of code breaking. So a great deal of the movie is invested in getting us to really believe in that storyline. Then, once we get partway through, it switches it out. It takes option A, so the idea that this is about a young mathematician recruited by the American government, gets rid of it, throws it to the side, and gives us option B. That second option is that it is about a young mathematician who suffers from schizophrenia. And so that he can't actually rely on his own experiences. He can't rely on the people he talks to. There's a very real possibility that Ed Harris's character, the agent, cannot be relied upon, cannot be trusted, because it may actually be a figment of John Nash's imagination. And as we go forward, sometimes it's easy to figure out what we can rely on, and sometimes it is not. One of the things that's important about this bait and switch strategy is that it is very, very different from what we saw in Pan's Labyrinth and Take Shelter. Now, we talked about how both of those movies, by the end, give us a sense of ambiguity. We can't really decide in Pan's Labyrinth whether it is a fairy tale story about a young girl being brought into a fantastical, beautiful world, or if it's about a young girl being gunned down brutally. And same thing in Take Shelter, right? We get to the end of the movie, and it's kind of difficult to figure out if we are watching a movie about the end of the world or about the schizophrenic break of the main character. So that's how those two movies function. A Beautiful Mind, at least for me, does not work that way. It functions very, very differently, because by the end of the movie, we can actually be pretty confident about what the movie is about, right? So we have the two options. So a young mathematician recruited by the American government, option A. Option B, about a mathematician who suffers from schizophrenia. We have these two options. By the end of the movie, option A is mostly thrown out the window. It's no longer understood as the correct way of understanding things. So the bait and switch strategy that is used in A Beautiful Mind gets rid of ambiguity, right? Some things might be ambiguous, but by the end, we kind of confidently know what's going to happen. So it's a very different movie. All right, that's really what I wanted to talk about. If you guys want to bring up anything different, feel free to do so in the discussion boards or the quizzes or in future writings.